Hey guys, so you can consider this kind of like a revising of a video I did earlier before I started work today, where I talked about, who could be, the surprise tonight on AEW Dynamite. And by the time you watch this, you already know that the surprise opponent for Isaiah Cassidy in the first qualifying match for the Face the Revolution ladder match battle royal at AEW Revolution was Keith Lee, Limitless Keith Lee. And here's the thing, a lot of people had his name on a list of names they knew would probably show up in AEW almost immediately after it was announced that his contract was up. Now some probably thought, oh well, he'd probably want to enjoy his honeymoon, with Mia Yim, his new wife. But they're both wrestlers, and they realize, hey, we can take a honeymoon at any time we want. This is an opportunity to basically shove it in the face of our former employer that, hey, you missed the boat on not just Keith, but eventually it's going to prove they missed the boat on Mia, because where Keith goes, Mia's showing up. So Mia's going to be there soon as well. But with that said though, a lot of people were persistent even before this that it was going to be Jeff Hardy. But why? Well, I think it's because of the way the Jeff Hardy situation was handled. How he had that moment during the live event in Corpus Christi, which led to WWE jumping the gun and assuming, if you will, that he had a relapse with drug issues and wanted to admit him into rehab. They offered to admit him back into rehab, which he refused, thus they had to let him go. But because of the fact that later on it got proven truthfully, correctly, that what Jeff probably was doing was finding a way out of his contract to do his own things for the time being, that his drug test that he did was, came up negative and all that. It proved that WWE once again, even at the beginning of this year, assumes way too much. They assume and jump the gun on things way too early, and way too much, if you know what I mean. And that's what they did with Jeff Hardy. Now, unfortunately, just because, they mishandled the situation with Jeff the way they did, by, assuming he was relapsing and assuming he needed help and he didn't, and releasing him for, no good reason, basically for, false accusations and assumptions, Jeff, unfortunately, still fell under the same category that the guy that debuted tonight fell under, prior to him, and that's Keith Lee. Keith Lee, about a month before, along with his new wife Mia and a few others, all were released, and they had to wait until this month, and recently, over the past week, to finally, be able to negotiate elsewhere. And, that's what he did. Now, nobody really knows how long his contract's going to be. It could be for a year, it could be for a couple of years. We don't know. We don't know how long his tenure with AEW or association with AEW is going to be. But again, people were persistent it was going to be Jeff because of the way the situation with him was handled, and they probably felt that there could be some kind of legal loophole that would allow Jeff to be able to jump into AEW, immediately before his non-compete clause, 90-day non-compete clause was up. But that wasn't the case, because unfortunately, and maybe it's for the best, fans have to wait until a month from now before Team Extreme becomes All Elite and becomes a vital part of that tag team division. They gotta wait a month from now for the Broken Hardys, if you will, for Brother Nero, Willow, and all of them to show up in AEW. All these personas. What's that other one he did? That Weed Whacker or something like that, or that other alter ego he has. they have to wait until a month from now for him to show up. And the timing, I think, couldn't be better because he'll be able to show up on the post-Revolution edition of Dynamite on the 9th of March. What better way to really get eyes on your product, especially post-pay-per-view, your first pay-per-view of the year, by the way, than by bringing in and debuting the charismatic Enigma? What better way to do it? I can't think of a better way. So to me, the wait's going to be worth it, especially with the timing of when he'll debut, when he'll become All Elite, and the Hardys, the Broken Hardys Team Extreme, will be All Elite. But like I said, the reason people were persistent that it could be Jeff that was going to debut tonight was because of, the way he was let go, and they felt maybe, Tony Khan might be able to, mingle and fangle, a solution to get Jeff, under contract or to make an appearance. But here's the thing, what fans have to understand, especially fans of today, especially the fans of this generation of AEW have to understand, is that despite the momentum AEW has, they are not going to want to get themselves into a legal battle with WWE under any circumstance whatsoever. They're not. I mean, here's the thing, if they decide basically, because here's the thing, if they decided to, basically sign, Jeff, or get Jeff to appear and be part of that match against Isaiah Cassidy instead of Keith Lee, do you realize the legal headache that Tony Khan would be facing, that the Khan family overall would be facing? Do you realize the headache that they would have to go through? I'll be honest with you, it would not be I'll be honest with you, I would not want to go through that headache if I was them. I wouldn't. Instead, I basically want to avoid something like that, because if you look at WWE's track, record as far as, legal situations are concerned, let's not forget, this is a company that, and it's been talked about and, pumped, not pumped, but basically talked about and highlighted to death of how Vince McMahon and WWE beat the government. So you think seriously Tony Khan, as much money as he has, wants to go into a legal situation against the guy that beat the government, against the company that through legal shade, through rightful legal action at WCW for presenting Scott Hall and Kevin Nash as the WWE personas, or at least resembling the WWE personas of Razor Ramon and Diesel? Do you think they want to go through a legal situation with WWE, who was throwing, basically cease and desist orders at them for the boss character that Ray Traylor portrayed in WCW being identical to the big boss man? Do you think they want to do that? Do you think they want to go through with that despite all the momentum they have? Despite the fact that their owner is a billionaire? Do you think they really want to go through with that? I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to see that, because I want to see AEW thrive. And I think them thriving, as long as they can, is great for the wrestling business. It's great for wrestling fans. So to me, I wouldn't want to see them go through something like that. And I know Tony Khan would not want to go through something like that, because that would be one major, massive headache he doesn't need. Even if it's a month, even though we're only a month remaining on Jeff's non-compete clause deal, that could create massive legal headaches. Not, like I said, not just for Tony Khan, but for his father and his family and overall. And it could really hurt AEW in the long run. So that is why, when you get down to it, Keith Lee debuting tonight is the better option. It's the more legal and rightful option to go with than trying to get, Jeff Hardy. Because at least with Keith Lee, legally he was able to debut without, causing major legal headaches between AEW and WWE. Because if Jeff would have been in that position, AEW would be fighting a legal battle that they honestly know they probably can't win due to the track record that WWE has in legal situations. Again, remember, they tout how much Vince and the WWE beat the government. WWE has, sent cease and desist orders on several occasions for copyright infraction of, character personas like of Razor and Diesel and the Boss, and just the list could go on. And WWE has always succeeded. They have always won those cases because WCW would be like, look, we don't want to deal with this. We don't want to go to court, so we're gonna change things. We're gonna do the cease and desist. We're gonna abide by the wishes. Do you think, Tony Khan wants to do that? Do you think he really wants to do that? Even if he was to bring Jeff in as Willow, people would know who that is. WWE would know who that is. So again, the best option is to wait. Patience is the virtue. And if you wait till the post-Dynamite edition or the post-AEW Revolution edition of Dynamite a month from now, it'll be well worth it. End of discussion. You know it, and I know it. So, in the long run, Keith Lee debuting tonight was the best choice, the best option to go with, especially from a legal standpoint. So, for those that were hoping it was Jeff and were persistent it was going to be Jeff to the very moment Keith Lee debuted, there's your answer as to why he wasn't going to debut. Because honestly, put yourself in Tony Khan in AEW's shoes. Would you want to go through a legal headache, for maybe months, if not years on end with WWE because you want to breach the non-compete clause deal for one of the former wrestlers? I wouldn't. I can tell you that. But let me know what your thoughts are on this whole situation and why you think fans were persistent on it being Jeff, now realizing the legal ramifications they could have put that they could have put AEW in and Tony Khan and his family in. What are your thoughts on it overall? Comment down below. Live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Check out the Teespring store. Check out my BW Roses Discussions podcast. Also check me out at BW Roses on VENMO. Check me out at patreon.com/BW Roses. And check me out at Venmo at Brian-Wilmer-2 to help support me financially there. But again, guys, give me your thoughts down below. Super chats and super stickers are open and would be appreciated during the live chat during the premiere as well. But again, let me know what your thoughts are, and I am out.